Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to this conversation about everything weird and woo woo and everything energy. I'm here. My name is Nick Hansinger, and I'm the president of Energy Mastery, and I'm here with Siobhan, the founder and CEO of Energy Mastery. And we've been having this conversation between ourselves for a while, and we wanted to kind of bring you into it as part of our community and kind of people on the outskirts of wondering what the heck is going on behind the curtain over there. What the heck is this thing? Which is a really common question. So we wanted to just kind of bring you into that conversation and have you be a part of it. So welcome, Siobhan. How are you today?
I'm awesome, super energized.
Without coffee?
Oh, yes, without coffee. You do not want to see me on coffee.
I keep trying to get you to have just a little sip. I just kind of want to see what that's like. Part of me
Oh,
is really intrigued and part of me is a little terrified.
yeah.
I got this email the other day that it just really cracked me up. In my Nick at Energy Mastery, and I opened up my email, and it was an invitation to an energy conference, and
Hmm.
and they're asking, do you what kind of energy serve? Are you guys solar? Are you like, what do you guys, what is this? And you might get a booth here. And I sent them back. I said, oh, we're a little different than that, but it seems pretty common. Like, they see the name Energy Mastery, and they're like, well, what the heck is that? Like, you guys, what do you guys do? So you're the founder of this. What is Energy Mastery?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, I get those emails too. The weird thing is we think of energy only in terms of now that we have all of this solar available, in terms of gas and solar and things that are going to run our lives. And there's another energy that is actually far more important. And since I've been using these techniques for the past 20 years, and people would ask me what I would do, and I do some energy mastery stuff, and it just became like a little common catchphrase that I was telling people I do. And essentially, it was I just create miracles for you. So that's really where I started. And why did I do that? Because I came from sales and marketing and corporate, and I didn't know what the heck to say. And really, when you understand the other subtle side of energy, it ends up being super fun. Like when you talk about solar and gas, and we really do want to be economical, and we want to play in those realms. But if you think about those people who are having those conversations, like when they send those emails, and like NASA and all of those things, they're actually talking about energy. They're just not talking about all the bits and parts of energy. And
Yeah, it's really fascinating. You're right. Like, it's they're always talking about energy. It just seems like they've got their own language set for it. It's not like something that you can necessarily understand in your life, but they're still having a conversation about energy. It's so interesting.
and like if you like quantum physics and quantum
Hmm.
mechanics and all of these things, and I like ancient books, and they've been talking about atoms and molecules and protons and all of these other things, and that makes up subtle energy. Really, in our world, it makes up subtle energy, auras and chakras and those kind of things. But quantum mechanics and quantum physics, talk about it in the atoms and the protons and the molecules and how small they get and how much can be seen and can't be seen. And they're forgetting about the truth of every single human on the planet has these atoms and molecules and protons beyond their body.
Mm.
And we're dealing with them all
Yeah,
the time.
yeah, all the time. We're dealing with our own, and then we're dealing with everybody else's,
Ugh.
and all the information overload that there is out there, and then certainly everybody else's stuff. So it's just like Facebook, such a and social media in general, I think, is such a really interesting um, development in how that gets transferred and transmitted to people all around the globe.
Mhm.
We think about, your average Facebook feed is pretty chaotic as far
Yeah,
as
puppies, kitties, kids, food, war, politics, fake news, law. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. You can go from one thing to the next and have all of these dramas in your whole experience, and it's not even 2 minutes.
right. It's so much. And when that's the thing I think that gets really kind of missed in that, like the gap in between is that, well, just in engaging with that, then you're picking some of that up.
I call it, yeah, I was riffing on for myself. I'm about to do another series in my own video stuff that I put out there. And so I'll bring that over here. But it's like, are you living somebody's energy and somebody else's energetic existence? Like, right?
That's deep. I had never thought of it like that. Are you living somebody else's energetic existence? Oh my God, but we do it all the time. Like we, especially if you in your family, like if your partner is going through a rough time, or they're feeling really agitated or they got something going on, all of that's yours really, really fast if you don't have the right tools to deal with that.
Yeah, you get sucked down into the drama and trauma. I have a particular client a client couple, I work with both the husband and wife. They have separate businesses and then they have a family. So I deal with, lots of different elements of their whole world. And he's a very over the top ADD kind of person. And she's a woo, yay, life is happy kind of person. And the fascinating thing that she said to me today was she's like, oh my God, I think I've taken on some of his traits of how he handles his business. And she says, I'm so glad I have these energy mastery tools. I would not be able to handle my own business or handle my kids.
That's so funny. I mean, but it just happens unconsciously. So often when people don't have the tools, and then that just becomes the new normal. And without that reality check, like, the big R reality check of, just coming back to me, coming back to my energy, getting all of that other stuff cleaned out, like I can just be clean and clear in my own space. Without that piece, it's so easy. That just becomes your new normal, and that's just what it is.
And you're on the phone with a lot of people because we go through an application process in order to participate in any of our programs because we need to help you find out where you're at. But you're on the phone with a lot of people, tapping into what they're up to. Like, what are they saying?
Well, it runs the gamut, but one of the most common things that I hear, the circumstances may change based on their life, but one of the most common things I hear are a lot of stress and anxiety and overwhelm. So they feel like and I've heard this phrase really frequently lately, is that they feel like they're underwater and just really just barely bobbing their head up to grab, a breath of air. And just having a really tough time. So they know what's fascinating in these conversations is that they know already that they're picking up other people's stuff, and they talk about it in the way that, like this, I've got this thing going on with my job and my work and my boss, or I've been having a tough time getting back to work after a change in that. And every time I just feel so heavy, and then they're just feeling like really, kind of overwhelmed with everything and trying to navigate their way through. And they know that energetically they're picking things up, and they just don't know how to solve it quickly enough. And so we talk to a lot of people who are really familiar with, certain, other modalities and other ways of dealing with energy. And they know already that they're hitting they've well beyond the threshold of what they're able to accomplish with that. And they're looking for, other solutions for a reason. Like they get that there's something off with the way that other things are being done and the way that it's being taught. And they're looking for something that's more clean, more clear, more simple, and more true to the actual laws. We talked in the beginning about, physics, and those natural laws have to be honored in healing. So and they're looking to understand that, which I think is really fascinating and really exciting for me to have those conversations with people.
That's so cool. So, I want to make sure we touch on this other thing that I always hear people saying, well, is it mindfulness or do you have to meditate? And yeah, there's a mindfulness piece. But the one thing that I know after having taught thousands and thousands of people to use these techniques and technologies is that we deal with the physical, the mental, and the emotional and the energetic, and it helps the relations and the finances and etc. But it's not mindfulness. It's really about dealing with the nuances of what the mind is doing to keep you stuck or in the problem or having less energy or even getting dropped into somebody else's stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a huge piece to that because most modalities really just focus on the woo and the yay, let's feel good and happy, and that's good. But if you don't solve the underlying mental mind challenge, I call it, I think of it as a little problem wrapped in the DNA and the mind, and it's like, okay, we have the technology in the program to solve that.
Yeah, and that's such an important piece. Mindful is the problem, and being mindful, your mind is full of stuff, and it's full of other people's stuff and things that aren't yours. It's full of, what cultures told us that we're supposed to be. It's full of what parents told us we're supposed to be and what schools told us we're supposed to be and how we're supposed to be. And it becomes so full. And one of the things that I think is really interesting about those techniques, I don't want to get too down in the weeds with it, but I just think it's really interesting that the effort is to clear the mind, but they're using kind of a willful or a way of doing that that's so incredibly temporary. And so, I've seen two things happen. I just had a lady I talked to today, and she's like, I'm doing all these meditations and I just noticed like I'm having these outbursts of anger. She's like, I just don't understand it. And I'm like, well, I understand that because you're basically just jamming all those things down. And sure enough, they're going to blow because they haven't been actually resolved at the energetic level. And I think that's just such an important piece, so meditation can be really powerful, but if you haven't dealt with your energetics first, you're not going to get to the level of spiritual connection that you're looking for. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's just it. Yeah. So I got kind of off on a little rant there.
No, I like it because
I'm pretty passionate about it.
Yeah, because really what happens when there are big outbursts, it means that something is stuck in the energetic container that needs to be released. And I don't know of other tools out there that really do this. And I've looked at a lot of them, and all of those other things, like you do meditation, that's great. It will help for a while, but the polar opposite can happen of things getting stuffed down or not dealt with or handled in a real way, and then breakage. So most modalities deal with a lot of breakage, and we're about, let's have life be better and better and better. I know I still use these tools every day. And, somebody,
why wouldn't you?
Right. And somebody asked me, oh yeah, you haven't been to a doctor? I was like, oh no, not in 20 years. No, absolutely not.
I was adding that up. For me, I think it's a solid 7 years. And I want to say it's a little bit longer than that.
That's cool.
But at least 7 years. Yeah. And, that's the funny thing. Like, I know that, you're obviously really talented with, you walked in with some things that most people don't have access to. But, for all intents and purposes, like I'm no different than anybody else. I wasn't sensitive to energy. I didn't know a lot about it, necessarily. And it's something that I could do and bring into my life and get that kind of a result. And that to me is just like, man, if I can do this, anybody can do this. I'm a trumpet player, musician. Like I don't know anything about this. I know about the energy of the orchestra and all that, but how that applies to my health or any of that, I didn't know any of that stuff. And I don't know. I just think that's one of the coolest things about energy mastery is that it just takes and simplifies that down to a formula that can be literally done in 10, 15 minutes a day.
10, 15 minutes a day. Yeah. At the very basics, you want to dive into something deeper. Sure. There are bigger things, but yeah, I think that's important. Yeah. So I love having this conversation. I know our tribe's going to love it. How do they find out more?
Well, I think there's the best thing that you can do is just release a new training. It's called the Healing Codes, discovering the lost healing codes, which is really what this whole technology is about. It's about getting back to that original code that's already in your DNA, and about how to understand that and unlock it in an amazing way. So what I'll do is I'll pop a link on this page so that everybody has access to that, and you just click and go check it out, because I think you're really going to love it. And you'll notice that after you do that, if you do want to have a conversation, I love having conversations with people. Obviously, it's one of my favorite things to do. And it's really the very best way that we can help you find your next best step, like whatever that is for you. And all you have to do is when you opt in there, you're going to see a form or an opportunity, and it just says, hey, like if you'd like to do this, go ahead and do this. And you fill out the quick little form and submit it. And then our team's going to reach out to you, and we'll take it from there, and we'll walk you through a process. And it's really high touch, so we really care about you. We want to know what's going on with you and find your next best step. Because basically on those calls, what we do is we just, first of all, we just get really clear on what it is that you actually want to have happen. And I am shocked. I've had hundreds of these calls, and I'm never ceases to surprise me of just how most people are really not clear in what they even really want to have happen. They just they can't articulate that. And then certainly we look at, what's stopping you? What are the major things that are really standing in your way? And again, it's very, very seldom what people think it is. It's actually
and so
something very
is there
different.
a website that they can go to?
The website for that would be, well, I'll pop a link on the page, but if they want to get that, the best thing to do would be to go to energymastery.info/energy.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then all of the other information is on there, and that's so cool.
Yeah. And I'll make sure and put it on the page so that they can get to the healing codes and all that stuff. Yeah, that'd be the best way. I can't wait to talk to everybody. I'm really excited about that. And Siobhan, thanks for having this conversation. It's really fun. We should do this more often.
I think so. I think we should. I think this is a good start on something. All right. Thank you, Nick.
Namaste.